if you analyze those countries that actually changed from last year to this year, the most places up in the ranking, you will see that of the 10 best performance of last year, which means that had jumps of between 8 to 12 spots in the world ranking, compared to last year, you will see that 6 come from the Middle East. Okay? From the Middle East. So, the message here is, we cannot compete alone. If we want to compete, we have to compete in a collective way. Okay? We have to compete collectively through collaboration. And that's a very important lesson that clusters of countries are actually giving us. If we want to increase our level of income, of prosperity in general, we have to learn how to partner with our neighbors. Okay? And that's critical. But look at the dispersion of performance of nations. It is uncanny to see this level of performance. Now, what's going on in terms of innovation in some countries in the Caribbean? Okay? The first few weeks that I was in Trinidad, I started to have interviews with some CEOs, some of the most important people in the government, and I kept asking, what's going on with innovation? Is it important to innovate here? And everybody was, yes, we innovate all the time. It's very important. It's on the top priority of my strategic agenda. We're cool with innovation, no problem. But seeing the results of Trinidad and Tobago as a country, actually Trinidad and Tobago ranks 138th in capacity for innovation of all the ranking, which was composed by 139 countries. So when I saw this, and the CEOs, the private sector saying, we're really good innovators, the bankers and everything, I say, let's do an exercise. And actually, I started to do this exercise not just in Trinidad, but in Barbados and in Jamaica. And I did something very simple. I went to the stock exchange of every country, and I randomly picked a group of firms that had their annual reports, and I analyzed the annual reports of those firms in the last 3 years. And I just counted the number of times certain keywords, such as innovation, were mentioned in the annual report. Does it make sense that if something is important for a company, it will be mentioned several times? Right? And that is a very, simple way of conducting research for academics. Very simplistic, yes, very easy, yes. And it was very uncomfortable for a lot of people, let me tell you that. I received a lot of criticism. But this is the results. This is actually in Barbados. Okay? In Barbados, the word innovation from the sample of firms that I analyzed, was mentioned twice. The word innovation. And we're talking about the private sector. The word cost, 446 times. The word risk, 247. The word opportunity, just 20 times. Critical for innovation is exploration and experimentation, right? You cannot innovate without experimenting and without exploring. Zero mentioning. Okay, do not innovate. But if you want to grow, you have to be an entrepreneur, even if you are an established company. Let's count the number of times that the word entrepreneur, entrepreneurial, entrepreneurship actually were mentioned there. Zero. Interesting. This is what happened in Trinidad and Tobago. For about 12 different annual reports, the word innovation, opportunity, entrepreneurship was mentioned twice, but look at the word risk. 1,109 times versus opportunity, 137. And innovation, really, in the lower levels. the word innovation was just mentioned once. And it was mentioned as part of the key strategies. So you mentioned the word innovation as your key strategy, and there's nothing else afterwards. What's interesting is after, we went through this analysis, the CEO spent like 2 hours explaining me why the word innovation was not actually there, which was kind of pretty lame for me, right? I'm an academic, so I told him, don't explain me that, But then one of the things that I've learned is that everybody talks about innovation, but really, we don't do it. And there is a simple reason why we don't do it. Because we really don't know how to innovate. There is, at school, although at the beginning they taught us the scientific method, we really didn't know how to really get connected with people. How to create prototypes, okay? And other skills that actually, at the end of the day, challenge the best practices of management. So, for innovation, we need to unlearn a lot of things that we learn at school. One of the critical things that we have to unlearn, you know what it is? We have to learn to defy authority. Will you feel comfortable hiring someone to work for you that will constantly defy your authority? Will you feel comfortable by hiring someone for your firm that has absolutely no idea what this industry is all about? Okay? Or someone actually who is very talented, you don't know what this person could do for your company, but this guy has very cool ideas. Or even someone who will contradict you in public. But you know what? Innovation-driven companies are the ones who actually are open to diversity, are open to new ideas and understand that no one in the company has the monopoly for new ideas. Not even the CEO. Now, for instance, what happened in Jamaica? In Jamaica, the word innovation was mentioned 17 times out of an analysis of 20 annual reports. The word cost was mentioned 103 times. The word opportunity, 48. And look at the word risk, 2,090. But this was, taking into account 1 year before the crisis. Okay? So, the word experimentation, 0. Exploration, just 1. And they mentioned a couple of times the word entrepreneurship. So, for me, this is some sort of a reflex, a mirror of the mindset, of large companies in terms of innovation. Interesting enough, even though we have all this evidence put together and put in front of CEOs, still they think that their companies are pretty innovative. So there's a lot that we have to do to change that mindset. Now, this is basically the notion that we have to come into place whenever we talk about competitiveness. What it is exactly, Well, it depends on the productivity which a nation uses. Its human capital and natural